clue. It's like, whew.
I know the happiness is contagious. Well, here we are. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The long-awaited arrival of 2022 is here. And I am recording this conversation for quality control purposes. So everything that you say may and can be used against you. Where do we start? First off, my name is Steve Trezak, Coach Steve, most people call me. For those that haven't met me or have had the formal introduction, and it is an absolute honor and a privilege to be here with you today so we can spend the next 90 days diving into who you desire to be through your level of transformation. There's going to be a lot to cover today. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with introductions. A lot of times I like to go around and say, who are you? Where are you from? But we're on a time schedule. I want to make sure that we can honor that hour, the getting, the Joshster, throwing up some double biceps. And you'll soon understand that this is it's a very fun environment. It's a very serious environment, but at the same time, it's one that is very safe. And you be yourself, be who you are, but also be someone that you desire to be. And we're going to support you through that process. So again, it is an honor. It is a privilege to be able to share and contribute and participate these energies with you today. And for the next 12 weeks at minimum, because there's lots of opportunities throughout this entire year to work together. But more importantly, let's get at what week one is, module one. At this point, my expectation is that you've watched the module, you've watched the video, you've watched the training, you have printed out the workbook, you've gone through the minimal steps. And I'm going to go through what those steps are so we're all on the same page, we're all in alignment. But let me start here. I'm really curious. I'm going to ask some questions here and maybe find some willing victims that can answer these questions so that we get like the temperature of the room like heated up here. I'm really curious, like, what are you hoping to experience in our time here together? And I'm just who wants to volunteer? Like, what are you looking to experience in our time? Not just today, not just this week, but for the next 90 days. What are you hoping to experience and what are you hoping to take away? This is where participation happens.
Okay, I'll participate.
Tracy, thank you for volunteering.
I'm just excited about meeting new people, and I've known Gail now for I don't know a little while, and she's inspired me to
another Gail Zintek groupie.
Pass the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, that's right. Take a sip, pass along.
I'll tell you, without Gail, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. So there must be some Kool-Aid there for you there, Steve.
No, this is very, very true. Gail and I have a very special kindred relationship. I called her, I met her mom for the first time just about 2 weeks ago? And I gave her mom a very nice compliment. I was very honest and open. I said, thank you for raising an amazing daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Someone that shows up unapologetically her, inspires other people. And I feel like that we're kindred sisters. And I'm not sure where the word sisters came from, but it just seemed to be very fitting at the time. And age doesn't mean a thing. It just means that it's the experience that we have in life. That's the way I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you're absolutely right. Without Gail, there's a lot of promise keepers that wouldn't be here. And I say promise keepers, and you'll soon understand why we call ourselves promise keepers. But is there anything you want to add to that? And thank you for sharing that, Tracy.
Oh, you're welcome. She, like I said, she inspires me. And I just want, if I can have just a little bit of what she has, then, I'm going to start off my year pretty damn good, I think. So
yeah,
that's what I'm looking for. And, and like I said, and always love meeting new people and, getting motivated. So.
Especially in a community where there's like-minded people, they're positive, they're energetic. We're not positive all the time, but when we have enough awareness to know when we're not in a great place and we can move through that much quicker than we typically have, does that not create a better and greater quality of life?
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, buddy. I was waiting for a little yeah, buddy from the Joshster. You always get something from the peanut gallery with Josh Stir, but you know what? It's very valuable and it's highly entertaining. So make sure you keep your tickets at the front door. Thank you for that. And again, to move for time purposes, I want to move on, but I do have another question as far as how do we define transformation? Like transformation, it's no question. We're here to make a change in the quality of our life. You'll hear me say time and time again, we're transforming from the inside out. And you're going to learn quickly what that means. As a matter of fact, you're going to learn that this week from your levels of who you're being through characteristic. But how do you define transformation? Maybe Carol, I'll ask you this question if you don't mind. How do you define transformation in your words? How do you interpret transformation? And to second that, how do you know that you've arrived in that transformation?
I'd say transformation for me is, well, because I'm doing it for weight right now. That's my goal is for weight. And I think just transforming maybe the way I look, you know, the way my body is, and transforming my body to be better.
Okay.
Health and my health wise. And I think that's basically it, but I'm here too. I got to ride behind Tracy's back. Gail is like everything. I've known Gail for a long time and I'm here because of that. And I'm blessed to have met her mother too last week. So that was awesome.
You met her face to face. I met her virtually. So,
but, and that was funny because I told Gail that was my word for this coming year is transformation. And I'm just excited to find out about from the inside out. You know, I've seen Gail and how Gail is and how she's transformed. So I just want to be the same. I just want to transform too. So
you want to be like Gail, but
no, I mean
the unique specificity to what you can bring to the quality of your own life.
Exactly.
I get it. I get it. Yes. And I can't tell you how many times, and Gail may not even admit this because she knows as well, but how many times people have said, I want to be more like Gail. And people are asking, they'll ask me even, Gail, people are asking me now, like, what's Gail doing? Like,
they probably haven't asked Steve.
Yeah. And we're going to learn together. Let me just get this out of the way, because the more you hear something from me, the deeper it's going to settle and it's going to set in. It can absorb more, right? Repetition is the mother of all learning. You're going to hear a lot that's just very repetitious from me, but it just represents and it exemplifies how important it is for us to start really understanding, or what I call knowing, what real transformation is. And I talk about this in module 1 video, like transformation. I'm very specific on what that means. Transformation is a thorough or dramatic change in form or appearance. Now, there's some generality to that, but it gets us in a tremendous direction to how we can define what transformation is. And we know when we arrive there, because we start seeing not just our form and appearance changing, but we're starting to observe how differently we're behaving and who we're being from our characteristics. And it requires so much less energy to maintain and sustain that. Your focus right now, our focus collectively, this isn't just you. And Tracy, you had said, I believe it was you, Tracy, you said that it was in your welcome video.
It was, yeah.
It was in your welcome video. And by the way, Tracy and Carol, fantastic welcome videos in the group. Thank you for spending that time. And that's exactly what it is. Just showing up as who you are, and hey, why are you here? What do you do? Tell us a little bit about yourself. And it gets you a little bit out of that comfort zone.
Dave's so angry.
But we can't grow, we can't evolve, we can't expand if we continue remaining in our comfort zone. So there's a lot of different avenues in which we're going to grow and expand together. And you had said something to the extent, and I'm going to try to quote you on this, but you said that you are here to fulfill and meet your promises for you, but also for us.
Yes.
And really the truth comes down to, it's what are you willing to do for you, and who are you willing to become for you? This is your transformation. This is your elevation. This is your expansion, right? So with that, let's move forward. And Carol, thank you for saying that and sharing that with this process. But here's what you really are going to expect in our time. Like there's gonna be like the next 11, 12 weeks are going to be jam-packed with value and strategies and tactics and lessons and learnings and breakthroughs. And there's going to be takeaways. It's how you choose to show up in our experience together. And you're going to take away what you're going to take away. So I want you to observe the quality of your life right now. How are you living? What's your relationship with yourself? What's your relationship with your health right now? What's the relationship with the beliefs that you hold to be true about yourself? Because we're going to go over habits. We're going to create new habits. We're going to replace old habits. We're going to talk about identities. We're going to talk about making promises to ourselves, i.e. our personal integrity. So as I'm saying these things, it may already be registering like, hey, like we talk about this in the week 1 content already. We're going to talk about just a lot of growth and development. And Carol, to your point, it's from the inside out. Very little, with the exception really of this week, we're talking about the doing and the behaviors. Because this is a week where we get into our scoreboard. We start committing to those personal power promises. We start locking in the agreements that we're making to ourselves. For far too long, we've been breaking these agreements with ourselves personally, and we're making a non-negotiable commitment to no longer break those commitments and promises that we've always been breaking. I don't care that it's January 3rd right now. The word resolution does not exist. It's the quality of a lifestyle that you know you can implement today, and you can see yourself doing it in 3 months, in a year, in 3 years, in 10 years from today. If it's not sustainable, it's not
Successful.
right on, Gail, right on. If it's not sustainable, it's not successful. I will not waste your time trying to create a behavior or a habit or a routine or a ritual that is not sustainable. You have my word. But I also cannot want this more than you want to have it. That doesn't work that way. I'm not going to do the push-ups for you, metaphorically speaking. I'm not doing the squats for you. I'm not prepping your food for you. I'm not drinking your water for you. So that's what to expect. And I mean, again, there's a vast amount that we're going to expect in our time together. And this conversation as well, since you've been through the video, you've been through the content, you probably have sort of thumbed through the workbook. Perhaps you've already gone through the training of why your goal setting is keeping you trapped. That's another expectation that I would love for you to be involved in, because that is going to clear the canvas. It's going to release the rocks, the boulders. So you open up more space, create a vacuum for more of our information, more of our time together to really soak in. But now's the time to ask questions. So I'll break in here from time to time and just ask, what are the takeaways? What questions do you have? And maybe this might be a great stopping point. Anything as far as the expectations go, or about transformation or arriving there. And if you don't have questions, I'm okay with that, because I'm sure I'll cover them in the next 45 minutes. All right, are we great? Okay, so transformation equation, that's a big one. Let's go over the transformation equation. It's in your workbook. It's not a surprise, but I don't believe I have what the transformation equation means in there. So let's go over it. And I told you that this is going to be more about your ways of being. Success is a matter of character. Write that one down. Success is a matter of character. Character meaning characteristics. Who you're choosing to be. So if we go over the transformation equation, we reference this quite a bit. And I might even, probably quiz you from time to time, the transformation equation. It's that important. It's that valuable. Transformation equation is an acronym. It's R times C squared plus T is greater than S. That's right. I said greater than S. So let's go through that. R represents responsibility. You being responsible, which is a way of being. It's a characteristic. C squared, there's two C's involved. There's one is commitment. The second C is going to be consistency. My heart pulled at me this morning to say, hey, listen, there's something that's really missing from all of my conversations I've been having with people for the last 2 years. And well before that, I'm talking about like AC after COVID really hit, like the pandemic, the lockdown, the paranoia that hit us in the beginning of 2020. And I started having some really deep, meaningful conversations with humans, with great people, with some amazing people. And there was a common theme, there was a common thread with almost every conversation, is that there was a huge disconnect in the level of consistency in which they've chosen to do something. It's not about getting more information. You're not here in this TM90 to obtain more stuff, more information, more strategy, though we do go through it, but that's not why you're here. You're here, if I'm going to be completely forthcoming, is because you know exactly what you need to do. You know what you need to do. You're just not doing what you know consistently. Consistency is a massive problem. And that is a primary reason why consistency is a large component to our transformation equation. And we're going to talk more about that because of the simplicity of which you're choosing to operate in your behavior and your power promise. So we have responsibility times C squared, commitment, consistency, plus T. T is simply time. Put in the time, the sets and the reps, be patient. Know this. Deborah, question. If I go to the gym today, after this call, after this conversation, never been to the gym before really, but you know what? It seems like it's a lot of fun. And I know that I can produce some results probably, right? I go to the gym after this conversation and I have a great workout to what my expectations are for the session. After my session, after my workout, I go to sleep, I rest, I recover, I wake up in the morning. What kind of results do I see?
Not much.
Okay, yeah, probably nothing, right?
Yeah, nothing.
Probably
Yeah.
nothing. Okay, so all right, I'm going to go tomorrow, Tuesday. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to go work out. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to break my body down. Then I'm going to go eat a nutritious meal because I know that's what I should be doing, right? I need to recover and reheal and repair my muscle. And then I'm going to go get some sleep, get some rest, get some recovery, stay hydrated, do all the things that I know I need to do. And then I wake up on Wednesday morning. What results am I going to get?
Nothing.
Right.
Nothing.
So if I'm not getting any results day 1, day 2, day 3, does that mean it doesn't work?
No.
No, it doesn't. But it means that we need to put time and we need to be patient and we need to be consistent. That is what you are here for, so that you can trust the process, knowing what's going to work as a sustainable quality of life and the lifestyle that you're choosing to live. Thank you, Deborah. Thanks for being honest with that.
You have to be. I mean, I've tried it.
I know. But you know, some people expect to have those results overnight. And Carol, you had said that transformation for you, how you know you'd arrive there, is that when you start seeing the scale move and you start seeing weight come off and you start seeing some of that body fat you released from your body. And we work through a process here where we say, measure the actions, not the results. Write that one down. Measure the actions, not the results. Because we know the results are coming. Be grateful, stage 3, be grateful for the things that aren't here yet. For the results that haven't arrived, but knowing that you're going through the process, you're going through the behavior, and you're just so grateful. The scale may not be moving. The inches may not be coming off. You look in the mirror and it remains to be the same, but you're so grateful because you put in the effort, you honored your commitment, you honored the promise you made to yourself today. Knowing I'm so appreciative that I'm going to get one step closer tomorrow, and then the next day, and then the next day. And then in the transformation equation, the S represents success. Whatever that means to you, whatever that transformation is to you, however that looks, however it feels, when you try it on, it just so warm. It's like, oh, in this 15-degree temperature. I mean, it warmed up 14 degrees since this morning when I took the kids to the bus stop. It was 1 degree this morning, 1 degree. But right now it's great because it's 15 degrees and it feels like it's 3 degrees. So we're on a winning streak. So why is it that in the transformation equation, R times C squared plus T is greater than S? Why is it not equal? Most equations are equal to something. Well, it's rather simple. It's because when you take full, complete responsibility for what you say you're going to do with full commitment, non-negotiable commitment, how do you know if it's a non-negotiable commitment? Let me ask that again. How do you know when you've made a non-negotiable commitment? Joshster?
It's not an option, man. Like you do or die, baby.
That's right. It's binary. It's either done or it's not done. The way I interpret it is a non-negotiable commitment is not open for discussion. It just gets done regardless of the circumstances and external conditions of your life. All the crap that you can't control out there, the weather, the heat, the relationship, the work, the stress, like all that stuff that's out there, you're allowing that to impact who you're being from a level of commitment. And we're going to work with you on that. There's no judgment, zero judgment here. We're just coming from a place of curiosity. We're curious. Who are you? Who have you been? Who are you willing to be? And only really you know that. So it's greater than success because success is not something we chase. I can almost imagine it now. Carol, I'm just saying this, I'm coming from a very caring position, but I'm imagining how many times you've chased down that scale. How many times you've said, I'm going to follow what this scale says. And if I'm not producing the results that I want in a reasonable amount of time, then I'm just not going to do it anymore. You're allowing the external condition of a scale to determine the quality of your life. And I'm being presumptuous, of course, but I'm just saying this because I'm not talking about Carol. I'm talking about all of us. We all have a common thread. We're human beings. It's greater than S because success is not something we chase down. Success is something that we attract by the person we're being. So when we're responsible, when we have a non-negotiable commitment, we're consistent, and with time, you're always going to be ahead of your own success. Think about that one. And I think the underlying word in there is just patience and the time. Just give it the time. I don't know how you're going to show up based on the curriculum that I have here for you in the next 90 days. I don't know your level of commitment truly. But I do know that when you operate from the transformation equation with wholeheartedness, you want to be more like Gail, then you're going to operate in the transformation equation. I can't tell you how many times, what is Gail doing? What's Amy doing? What is Josh doing? What's Deborah doing? Your transformation is much less about what you're doing and so much more about who you're being. There's times I say things, I'm like, did I just say that? Like, I feel like I just said that 10 minutes ago. It doesn't matter though. Because you've been watching Promise Keepers, you've been watching participants in the transformation method in the TM90. You've experienced what they've gone through. You just haven't seen what's happened behind the curtain. And I'm grateful that you're taking this leap of faith, by the way, because it is a leap of faith, but it's more of a leap of faith in you being open to different modalities and different ways of being, more than anything. Okay, let's continue with module 1. Week 1, this is the most exciting week, really, because this is going to set our foundation for how we're going to move forward. When you look through the workbook, you can look at it together with me, or you can, choose just take notes as you are. Thank you for doing that, because that's going to be important. There's a physiological piece of memory. We memorize things more when we actually physically write them down with pen, pencil, paper. So continue doing that. All right, first and foremost, let's go over what is the steps. There's a checklist at the back end of your workbook. We're going to go over those things today, and any questions you have, I'll save them. Maybe give me like 5 or 10 minutes and I'll stop and break for questions or any takeaways you have. All right, firstly, for all those new to the TM90, be sure you watch the 5-minute intro. You should have received that upon joining or registering for the group. And I believe it's also in the Value Vault. So the Value Vault's going to give you access to everything. It's going to give you access to all the modules, the workbooks. I'm debating, and I'm saying this like out loud, I'm debating if I want to put and continue putting the replays in there. I may email them to you individually, or I may put them in a side folder in our group. So they're super easy to access. So if you have some ideas or like, what do you prefer, let me know, and maybe I'll just do a unanimous type of decision. Watch the 5-minute introductory video, please. And then also, this is new because I just created this in December. Go watch the 25-minute video of why your goal setting is keeping you trapped. The more I thought about it, the more imperative it appeared to me that like you have to watch that. If you want to start with an advantage and start clearing a lot of the junk that's in your head, in your beliefs, in your stories, you want to invest 25 minutes. Gail has suggested spending an hour. I think that's a great recommendation. Spend an hour. Why is it an hour? Because there's an exercise attached to it. You're going to be writing down your wins, your losses that you've experienced over the last month, the last 3 months, the last year. Spend due diligence time going through that exercise. Everything I discuss is going to be very relevant to your transformation. I assure you, I am not here to waste your time. So watch that video, watch the 25-minute video as to why your goal setting is keeping you trapped. That has also been posted in our Facebook group. I put it up under announcements, but I believe it's under features. When you look at the group, it's going to say features. You're going to find that video in there. Okay, next, which arguably, from what I understand, might be one of the most challenging. Well, actually, it's probably one of the two most challenging things for some people. But it's to go into our group and it's to do an introductory video. Share with us who the heck you are, why you're here, what are you excited about, what are you enthusiastic about, what challenges are you experiencing? Tell us about your family. Tell us something interesting about you. I'll go into the group as many times as I feel I can get into the group. And I assure you, I'll get my audio a little better next time. I believe I had my earbuds in my pocket for some reason, somehow. I thought I had them off. But Carol, you lasted the entire time. You were with me the entire time, I think. So you were able to endure the muffling.
It was like,
I know. And she was like commenting like, man, this is great. Like, this is like, there's background noise. There's construction going on. There's, I don't know, there's garbage trucks beeping in my ear. I'm like, all right, but hey, you know what? That demonstrates this. Remember this. Imperfect action is going to trump perfect inaction every single time. You are not here to be perfect. Understand, you are not here to be perfect. You're here to progress. You're here to strive for excellence, not perfection. You are in the wrong community if you think you have to be perfect to show up for a transformation method. So yes, please take time. It could be a minute video. It could be 30 seconds. It could be 5. It doesn't matter. Just show up and be authentically you, whether it's a live video or it could be a pre-recorded video and just posting it in the group. And I give you some examples or I give you some, suggestions on how to do that in the content. This is probably the second most challenging one. And then I'll pause for some questions here because I think you might have some questions on this. It's the baseline measurements. It's you being vulnerable in showing up as who you are today. There's going to be a question that I'm going to ask you because each one of us are going to have an individual one-on-one conversation. We're going to do one every month. That's my commitment to you. This is a commitment I've never made to any TM90. This is the first time where I'm making a commitment to every single promise keeper that I'm going to have a one-on-one conversation with you to dive deeper, to ask questions that nobody's probably asked you, to really uncover those blind spots that have been holding you back and you are no longer going to tolerate. You almost hate them. And I don't use that word I hate the word hate. I just do. My son says that. And I tell my son's 8. His name's Joe. My daughter's 10. Her name's Jonna. And you'll learn about my family too. I have a wife. Her name's Kathy. We've been married for, 12 years. And my son, he's 8. He's like, oh, I hate this game. Son, that's a strong word. Words are powerful. Words are physical. Words are emotional. Now, I'm not tough on him, but I need to bring awareness and I want to have a conversation. Now he's 8, so that conversation can go anyway. But the point is that the measurements are there so that you can create a baseline. And in my conversation with you, I'm going to discuss this a little bit today. It's my intention to share with you, give you a heads up on what our conversation is going to be about this month when we do our one-on-ones. But the first question I may ask you is, where are you? Where are you in your life right now? Where are you in your relationship with your health and your physical presence? And part of that is knowing your objective measurements. Because you do not want to tolerate it. And we like right now, who has like that empty stomach pit going out? Like their hands are getting clammy. You're getting nervous. You're like, I've been putting this off for way too long. Steve's been asking me to do this listen, in order for things to change, you need to change. Malcolm X has this amazing quote, and he says, that in which you do not hate you eventually tolerate. And you've been tolerating this for far too long. And when we expose where you are, it's not even exposure. Let me rephrase that. I would say when we just become, maybe even vulnerable is not the word. I don't even know what the word is, but it's when you get to a point where you tell yourself, and you probably have, you tell, who's ever told themselves, you know what, something has to change. Something has to change. You don't know what it is, maybe, or maybe you do, but you're so fearful of what people are going to say, how they're going to respond, how are they going to act, that you give away all of your power to make a real change in your life. And let me tell you something, that is not fair to anybody, especially you. We're here to take back our power and take initiative and gaining back control in what seemingly seems like a world that there is no control. But you are empowered, you are strong, you are confident, and we're going to prove that by you being a promise keeper. Are we all aboard?
Yes.
Baseline measurements. Baseline measurements are going to be a part of the process. And you know what? There's a video for that. Gail and I did a video in how to take measurements. There's also a worksheet. It's in your workbook. There's a form for this. Take your measurements. And then there's ancillary things too. If you choose to take your body fat percentage, you want to take your blood pressure, you want to take other vitals, by all means do what's important for you. If you have LDL or HDL issues with your cholesterol, then get your cholesterol reading done. Reassess it in 90 days. Be proud of yourself. Celebrate your wins with yourself and with our community. So do your measurements. And then there's the infamous taking your physique pictures, taking your body image snapshot pictures. Could be on your smartphone. Just be leery that those pictures, you don't want to be going through your scrolling, finding a picture for a friend, and you're like rolling through your, your baseline picture with you maybe just in your bra and underwear or something. Like, you know, put it in a file somewhere. Like, this is for your own personal file. This is not for you to share in our community or in our group or with me. This is exclusively for you. Now, there might come a time where you're like, you know what? I'm so damn proud of what I've accomplished and who I've become that you may be willing to share that. I don't know. It's not a requirement. I know Amy's been vulnerable in sharing her pictures. Amy's had a tremendous weight loss release story. If you don't know Amy Izzo, go follow her, please. She's in our group. She's popping in and out here. I think she's probably on the road. Gail just posted a before and after. It was a 2-year progress. I think we've all seen that, or we've seen variations of it. And I'll tell you what, there's no way in high heaven of any sort of God that I believe Gail would have posted that before picture in 2019. Was that 2019 or 2020?
That picture was taken 2018.
18, okay.
January, like right now, January 2018.
Nobody ever in the history, well, I can't take that because there's some people that are super vulnerable and they are so sick. They are sick. And when they're not sick, they're tired. They're sick and tired of who they've become, that they will take that picture and they will throw it over social media and say, this is who I am. I am disgusted with this. I'm with you, but I'm going to make a change. And guess what? Those are the people that win. I'm not saying that's what you're doing. There's a dichotomy. There's that side, and there's a side where you take the pictures. It's painful to take them, but you know what the reality is now. You push it away, you put it in a side folder, you tuck it away, and you just follow the process. You measure the actions, not the results. If your physical, aesthetic, weight loss, fat loss, however you name it, if your goal is to drop and release 30 pounds, just for example, you've heard this before, but you have to hear it from me. How long did it take you to put on those 30 pounds? It took you probably years of being and floating in these poor habits that by just being involved in this community, you cannot expect it to be dropped off overnight. So measure the actions, not the results. Take your pictures, front, back, side. Remember what the lighting is. Remember the time of day. Remember the foods you ate or didn't eat. Remember the water. So try to make it as close to the same variables as possible so that you can get as accurate as possible. Because newsflash, I'll give you a little foreshadowing here. I'm going to ask you to do it again in 30 days from today. I'm going to prompt you to do that. And then finally, probably the most standard one is just take your body weight on a scale, body weight scale. Just take your body weight. It's a tool. It is not the be all end all. I'm not saying measure yourself every day, but just measure yourself at least one time. Take your body weight. Write that number down, tuck it away, revisit it in 30 days. You tell me. You tell me that when you follow the transformation equation and you are fully responsible, 100% responsible with your level of commitment that you have made here on the small things, we'll get into that, and you being consistent for 30 consecutive days. I'm saying 30 because I'm just thinking about what life looks like on February 1st or that week of February 1st. And you give it enough time and you're patient. You're trusting the process. You mean to tell me that you're not going to be eager to go retake those pictures and redo those measurements? I bet you will be. If you aren't, you didn't follow the transformation equation. Simple as that. All right, let's open up for questions just for a minute. Questions, comments, takeaways. Where are we at? Tracy.
I gotta unmute. I have a question, like the scoreboard, I couldn't seem to find that anywhere. I don't know
We're
if
going
I'm
to go over the scoreboard next, but I will. I sent you a request to gain access to the scoreboard. I'll go back and make sure that I can send that.
If you go in your Google Drive to things that are shared with you, that's usually where it's at.
Yeah, our entire scoreboard is going to be accessible through Google Sheets.
Google
So
Sheet.
whether it's going to be on your laptop or your desktop or even your smartphone, there's going to be an app for that.
Okay.
Google Sheets. And what I do is once you register and upon registration, you get the welcome email, you get the welcome landing page. And on that landing page, you have a link also that you can click and request access. I believe I got one from you. Did you not click that?
Yeah, I went onto the thing and I can get into the vault and
Okay.
all that. Yeah, but I just, for some reason, I don't know if I'm sped, but I just can't find those scores.
Are you familiar with Google Documents and Sheets?
No.
Okay,
No.
so that's probably what it is. So we'll get you access into there, but
Okay.
it's super easy. As a matter of fact, we're going to go over the scoreboard next. So
Okay.
I'll screen share what it looks like and you'll be able to see it live and we'll be able to go over some things and
Okay.
I just posted the link. I just put the link in the chat.
thank you. Thank you,
Thanks.
Katie.
I think it works.
Any other questions up to this point about the measurements, about the assessment, about the videos, the content, introducing yourself on the video?
When are the measurements due by?
There's no due date. I would say probably by Friday. Give yourself the week to really It's sort of like pulling a Band-Aid off.
I'm gonna make a public vocal commitment. If I don't have them done by Friday, Steve, the next year of 2022, your coffee subscription is free.
Bam. I got to tell you, that's the best tasting coffee. Van Buren Coffee Company really delivers. And I almost feel guilty taking that challenge on because I am so worthy of paying for that investment.
Hey, you know what? I feel well when I have something stinging me, and Josh doesn't like to let go of his money. So
can we do an either or, Josh? Can we say either I get a year complimentary of the Van Buren coffee, or you fly your tail out here and we go out for lunch?
Done.
Yeah. All right.
Done. Yeah.
All right. I love it.
Yeah, but now he won't do the measurements so he can come to lunch.
That's true. Yeah. What kind of incentive is that? You mean
Like, that is not incentive, gentlemen. He wants to come see you.
That's awesome.
I gotta say
but you can't wear
been...
anything you can't wear anything at lunch except for like posing trunks.
Okay. So I would totally do it too. Hey man, if you lose, you lose. You got to pay up.
No,
pay the piper, baby.
I understand the point that when you make a public accountability notice like that, like, here's the thing. I want you to notice what Josh just did there. Josh just said, hey, I'm going to make a commitment to, it's really to himself, but it's to this community. And how many times do we make a promise to other people in our life? And we have no problem doing that for other people. Like, hey, no, I'll pick up your kids at school. I'll go pick up your laundry. I'll go pick up coffee for the whatever it is. But why is it that we take, it's so insignificant at times where we don't honor the commitment we make to ourselves?
So I look at it, it's a task, right? And I'm very task saturated right now. And so I have to do this task now. And it's like every 90 days I go, I got to do this task again. And I'm like, oh, I put it on the to-do list. And so like, it's like the one thing I'm like, I can see that I'm changed. I mean, like I can see it. So what do I need to put it down for? Like, I'm a little past this already. So, and I had a moment, actually one of the pictures I posted where I was like, kind of, hitting a little bicep there. I was like, wow, it's starting to look pretty good, dude. Like, so I don't know. I was like, why are you doing them, man? Like you effing lazy son of a, what, right? Like,
say what you want.
And, but I don't know. I always have great intentions. No follow through on that thing right there. So
not anymore.
Boom!
Not anymore. Now, how would this be, Josh, if you would have started those measurements back when we first talked about them?
Oh man, it'd be like once again, like I remember like I think I've shared this before. I think my biceps were like 17 and almost 18 inches. And I kept losing the measurement. Like it would go down to 17 and a quarter, 16 through. I'm like, and I got pissed. And I'm like, son of a, and you're like, dude, you're losing body fat. I'm like, oh, all right. Like it was kind of cool, right? And so no, it'd be cool. Like I said, I look at old pictures of me now and it's like, dude. Like, during my skinny days, like, dude, you look like a twig, bro. And then I was in my fat days and it's like, man, you fat as, like.
I've had the fortunate privilege of speaking to thousands of people over the last 25 years in some sense of transformation. And most every transformation has to do with a measurable goal, like a measurable, like body measurements, body fat assessment, weight. And I got to tell you, I still am so fascinated with how differently two men can have a conversation about measurements, much differently than I have a conversation with a woman. And we're talking about biceps and we're talking about chest size. We're talking about all those things. And women, it's like, hey, I'm reducing here in the midsection, in the waist and the thighs. It's awesome. It's awesome that we can be so different, yet so much the same. And we're just all moving in the same direction. It's inspiring. It's cool.
I'm gonna measure my hair length too.
You got those butters cut. That's for sure. All right, let's keep moving forward here. I appreciate that insight, Josh, and for that level of accountability that you just produced for yourself. And hey, I think you got a couple eyes on you now. It's all going to work. All right, scoreboard. Let's talk about getting access to the scoreboard, how that works. I'm going to share my screen with you here. And this is what your scoreboard is going to look like. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you see the scoreboard. This is what it's going to look like when you enter the Google Sheets. There is a small tutorial video, which I probably should update. This is about, it's probably maybe a year and a half old, right up here in this link, but it's going to walk you through how this process goes. So on the left-hand side are all the names of the Power or Promise Keeper participants for the TM90. City and state, if it's blank, Josh, I wasn't sure what you wanted to deem as your city or state as far as where you reside. You're back and forth. John's just moved recently. He's coming back. Tracy, you said that in your intro video. I just didn't take note of it. And I see that Carol put it in. Sweet, California IA. Power promises. Here's what's important. These two columns right here, H and J, there's nothing you need to touch on this scoreboard. As a matter of fact, the less clicking you do, the better, because all of this has a very specific algorithm built in there. And if you start messing with all these different cells that are outside of what I'm going to share with you, it could really throw things off. So I have a big layer of trust that you're not navigating around the scoreboard. And this is how easy it is. Once you put in your commitment, let's go over, Katie, I just happen to see yours here and you're on the conversation. You're going to put in your movement commitment. Now there's a video for this. There's a full content training and lesson on this. I'm not going to spend too much time, but what I want to talk about is the clarity in which you are committing to. So Katie, for example, your power promise is a minimum of 1 mile or 15 minutes of movement. The first thing I'll say, Katie, is this: just pick one. Just pick one. Is it the 1 mile or 15 minutes of movement? It could be the same. You might be a really fast walker and you might be able to get 1 mile in 15 minutes. And again, this will be a conversation that you and I have individually, Katie. I'm not going to spend much time, but for the perspective that others can learn from this, the more specific you are, the more clear your brain is to going and taking action on doing that behavior based on who you're choosing to be. So you could pick 1 mile or you can pick 15 minutes of movement. Oh, so look, she's already in there. They're changing it. You can see when in real time how it works. So 15 minutes of movement, Katie, thank you for that, because that just makes things so much simpler so that you can clearly define like, hey, either yes, I did it or no, I didn't. You could have done the same thing for 1 mile as well, but you chose 15 minutes of movement so that you know for 15 consistent consecutive minutes, you have your heart rate elevated higher than a resting heart rate. And you're just moving your body for 15 minutes. And then daily journaling. What does that mean? Daily journaling. You don't have to answer that, but just think about, like, how do you know when your head hits the pillow at night that you have certainly completed that for the day? Okay, so for example, let me go to mine. Mine's going to be relatively simple, and I'll explain a couple of things. Mine's 20 push-ups. Well, why the heck are you doing 20 push-ups, Steve? You're certainly stronger than doing just 20 push-ups. And Josh, you can relate to this because you did push-ups as one of your power promises. But what's easy to do is also easy not to do. And it's not the fact I'm doing 20 push-ups, it's the fact that I'm creating a consistency in the process and enough awareness to do 20 push-ups per day consistently. Here's what I know. I know that when we have a conversation and we do our final week of our TM90, which is going to be in end of March, let's just say that. I don't know when that's going to be because I enjoy spending time with you, and I usually offer bonus time and we keep kind of talking and enjoying our time together. I know this. I know that come the end of March, at minimum, I already know what's going to happen. I'm going to be doing 1,800 push-ups. I have 1,800 push-ups that are in the bank already. I just haven't done the push-ups yet. Think about that. 1,800 push-ups that your coach is going to be doing because I'm making a commitment of 20 push-ups. That's the minimum. When I double that and I do 40 push-ups in a given day, I earn an additional point. I didn't even get to the points yet, but I'm just forward thinking here. So it could be up to 3,600 push-ups that I do by the end of March. Chances are it's gonna be 3,600. Think about that. 15 minutes of movement. What does that equate to? Well, that's going to be 30 hours. 30 hours of movement for Katie. Is that right? 45? No. 22 and a half. 22 and a half hours. And that's at minimum. If Katie is desiring to earn a bonus point and she does 30 minutes of consistent movement by just doubling her 15 minutes, she's going to be at 45 minutes. I'm sorry, 45 hours, 45 hours of moving her body consistently over the first quarter of 2022. Small hinges swing big doors. Keep opening those small hinges and those big doors are going to open big time for you. Where we get trapped is where we start living through circumstance versus our commitment. And this is what we're going to also talk about in our conversations. I want to make sure this is dialed in for you. Don't lay this and be like, oh, okay, well, I'll get to it later. I'm just going to pick something that, I don't know if I can do. I want you to be very, very specific. Gail, you picked something that I asked you to share here about your power promise and your commitment. Can you share that one with your water, please?
Sure. Well, when I first put it in there, I had 100 ounces of water because I know the benefits of drinking water. I've done this before and I was finding it difficult. I lowered it to 88 and I was still like, I wasn't sure I was getting 88. And part of creating a power promise is to make it so easy that you can't not do it, right? So I just went in there and I like to get the scoreboard out of the way early in the day for me. So I altered it even again. And I said that I would drink 44 ounces of water by noon because my early in the day, if I focus on getting those 44 ounces of water in, there's the chances of me getting 88 ounces or even 70 ounces, which is kind of what I've struck in my mind as my goal is 70 ounces of water a day. But I didn't want to be waiting and not getting my scoreboard updated until evening time. So 44 ounces of water by noon is going to serve me, and it's still going to create awareness where I have to kind of think about it. So bye, Susan. Happy New Year.
Oh, see you, Susan. Thanks for joining us. Catch the rest on replay.
So that's my talk about water.
Okay, so
Oh, sorry.
I'm going to go back to my ancillary promise real quick. It's just simply 30 minutes of reading personal development, like just sitting down with a physical book and reading for 30 minutes. I know if I earn that extra point on the scoreboard, or if I earn the point on the scoreboard for the ancillary, when the 30-minute timer goes off. If I read and when I read, or by chance, if I read for 29 minutes, I don't get the point. If I read for an hour, if I read for 60 minutes for the ancillary, I still get 1 point. You get 1 point on the scoreboard, which goes right into the allocated column right here. So January 2nd just passed. And by the way, please don't touch these numbers on the 4s. This just keeps us up to speed so that starting today, you can honor that commitment. And if you haven't got into the scoreboard till now, or you're still trying to like marinate what's a great power promise for you, or what's capable for you, or what's reasonable or realistic, and you just don't get to it today, then please promise yourself you'll start tomorrow. Let me know. Actually, don't let me know because I'll know. I'll just know because you didn't put anything in the scoreboard for today. And then I'll adjust it so that you're not losing opportunity on keeping up with the baseline here at 6%. This red line indicates that you are honoring your promises and your commitments month to date. The extra point that you can earn through your movement activity, whatever you choose, it's your personal commitment. You can earn a bonus point so you stay above that line. Now, I'm not advocating that you sort of stockpile your bonus points so that gives you freedom or liberty to not do a commitment. But, you know, life goes sideways. I know things happen in the world. Nothing's perfect. There might be a day where the entire day there's an emergency, there's chaos hitting, your child falls downstairs and you have to take them to an emergency room or something, and things are going to happen where you don't get that promise in. Just know that you have opportunity to make that up. And I know that's been really helpful, but I also feel that's been a downfall for people as well, because there's some people that come through our community that feel that they have to do everything perfectly. It's not the case. It's not true. I told you, we're not striving for perfection. We're striving for excellence, for progress. So Denise Pitcher had asked me a question, and Denise is not here with us today. She's working with a client, and you'll really get a chance to enjoy Denise in our community. And I have her highlighted here, and she had side messaged me and she said, hey, I'm going to commit to doing a mile and a half of walking every day. My first question to Denise was, and by the way, this is the most standard question you're going to get from me, so this isn't isolating Denise. The question was, okay, you're committing to a mile and a half of daily walking. How much walking are you doing consistently today? How much do you typically walk? And her response, which I sort of foresaw coming, not because it's not because of Denise, but it's because it's just how we operate as humans. And her response was honest. And she said, well, I really am not consistent. I don't do much walking. So my question was, well, how much can you walk in a day? Like, don't try to overdo it and possibly setting yourself up so it becomes harder to do. Make it so simple that it's impossible not to do it. So she reduced it down to 1 mile on her terms, not mine. I didn't suggest it. I didn't recommend it. I just said, hey, what is reasonable? If she said a half a mile, I'd be okay with that too. It's your commitment. So the points tabulate and they add up, and thus does the percent here, so that your percent is going to be calculated based on the amount of power promises that you are honoring and fulfilling to yourself. Let me stop there. I'm going to keep this scoreboard up, but please let me know what questions you have, because now's a great time to ask. And you can just open your mic. I can't see everybody, so if you have your hand raised, I can't see you. I'll give you 10 seconds.
So I've already walked, and I'm probably at about 60 ounces of water. I should finish 20. So what do I put there?
2, just like that. Actually, I'm sorry. You walked your 1 mile.
Yeah.
And you drink 60 ounces?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a 1. And then when you drink that other 20 ounces for the day, then you come back in here and you just add the 2.
Okay.
Just
I
like
actually walked 2, and I've been walking 2. I moved to 2.
I saw that. I
miles.
want to talk about that as well.
Yeah.
Time limited here, but okay, so that's going to be 3 points. So you've earned the maximum points for today, or you will once you get that 20 ounces in.
Okay, so as soon as I complete my 80, that's 2. No, that's
Nope.
1. That's 2, huh?
No, see up here where it says, right up here at the top says only bonus opportunity is for the daily movement. So the daily movement is the only opportunity you have to earn a bonus. So when you say a minimum of 1 mile per day, you have 1 mile. You're going to walk 1 mile as a non-negotiable commitment. However, we know how things work. When you start walking and you're listening to like some music or a podcast, or you're having a conversation with a friend, like you just kind of keep going.
Yeah.
Like you have that momentum, you have that motivation, you just kind of keep going. It's like, hey, I got the time to do it. Let me go take the 20 minutes that it took me to walk 1 mile, or maybe it's 18 minutes or whatever it takes you. And then you just double it.
Yes, exactly.
And you double that time. So for you, doubling your activity expectation that you have for yourself in the day, you're going to earn double that point. So you earn 2 points.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Now the ancillary one, I keep on pointing to the screen, like you can see where I'm pointing. But right here, the second column, the ancillary promise, that you can only earn 1 point. It doesn't
Okay.
matter if you drink 160 ounces of water or if you drink 80 ounces of water. That one's just worth 1 point.
Okay, cool.
And same thing if you go way above and beyond your activity. Let's say you walk 4 miles because you're having a phenomenal conversation with a friend, and you're like, oh, that's 4 points. No, that's actually still only 2 points.
Okay.
You only can earn double the points
So
on the movement. Is that helpful?
Yeah, so then it would be like 3 points.
Yeah.
Oh my-
So in this situation, maybe it's confusing because there's 4s here.
Yeah.
Please don't mind the 4s. This is just holding spots because this column's blank. So
Okay.
these 4s are irrelevant to our process together. That's why I said don't touch January 2nd. As a matter of fact, I probably should just put 2s in here, but this is just the way I do it.
Okay.
And so don't touch these 4s, but only moving forward for now, at least for the next 30 days, the most you can earn for a given day is going to be 3 points, up to 2 points for the movement and the activity power promise, and then 1 point for your ancillary bonus,
Okay.
or your ancillary promise.
Got it.
Okay. And people are going to mess up. Like they're going to be kind of all over. We'll retrack and we'll retrace it and kind of go over the process. But please, like, I am not Nostradamus. I'm not a mind reader. If you have questions and you're not asking them, I have no way to provide a solution for you or to help you or to guide you or to provoke you in the right direction. So that's going to be really important. So the scoreboard is a phenomenal tool for us to layer and level up our accountability, or really it's ownership. Like, accountability is not consequences. Accountability is ownership. It's ownership. All right, so that's the scoreboard. If you have trouble getting access or getting in, let me know, but let's go 5 more minutes here so we can rock this out. Okay, scoreboard. And updating the scoreboard. Listen, here's the deal. Part of the transformation equation is being responsible. And part of being responsible is just going in the scoreboard and updating it every single day. If you miss a day or something comes up and you still did it, like, you go back, just be the person that doesn't allow several days to go by or accumulate where you're not updating your scoreboard. I'm not looking at anybody in particular.
Yeah, you are.
Why do I see the top of your head now, Josh? But just do the right thing, and you're here for a reason, and just be accountable. You're not coming here to seek accountability, contrary to what many people think, like, oh, I need an accountability group. This is not an accountability group. This is an opportunity for you to identify and be aware of what you can bring to the quality of your life through your own accountability. Don't expect somebody to be a glorified babysitter and try to hunt you down to go do your power promises or to do your commitments. Either you do it or you don't. Now, of course, I'm going to talk to you, or I'll reach out to you and see, hey, how can I help? This is new for so many of you. But that's why we make it so simple. So simple. It's almost impossible not to do it. It just creates a little bit more awareness. And then the next thing that you're going to want to do, that I believe it's on the checklist, is get the workbook completed. Complete the workbook, go through the exercises, go through the module summary, review it, answer the questions in there. After you've gone through the module, after you've gone through the videos, you might even want to wait till we go through the Monday conversation, because every Monday is going to be discussing the current week's content. And then I put in sort of a nifty little reminder of a week 1 checklist just for the first week. That's the only week that I put that in there. And if you have that checklist, let's say on your desk at work, or if you put it on your refrigerator or in your bathroom mirror or something, and it's very visible, it's going to be a residual reminder also. At the bottom, there's like those little boxes that say, hey, did you do your scoreboard for Monday, for Tuesday, for Wednesday, for Thursday, for Friday? And it gives you sort of that reminder. Or, sort of be brilliant and put a reminder on your smartphone. There's all types of ways. Ask your kids or ask a neighbor. Say, hey, just before you go to bed, just remind me to do my scoreboard. What's that? Oh, just trust me. Just ask me to do my scoreboard, and you'll figure out a way to get it done. When you don't have the resources, you become resourceful. And let's see. Finally, actually, yeah, the last thing I really want to talk about is be sure to schedule your appointment with me, our conversation, our one-on-one, and I will be sharing my Calendarly with you and some open available times so that you can schedule those times with me. And we'll spend as much time as needed, probably up to an hour. But if you want to do 30 minutes, 60 minutes, I want to spend as much time with you. Here's the way I look at it. For years, I've always told clients, I said, you're not investing in my time, you're investing in the result. So if it's a 15-minute conversation, you're like, boom, like, holy crap, like that's exactly what I needed to hear. Then go on and get excited about your day. But you're going to get out of it what you're willing to show up for. But I did also tell you there was going to be a couple of questions I was going to ask you that we're going to dive into. So let me just go over those with you. Write these things down because I want you to be prepared when we have this conversation coming up. And I'm going to keep it very consistent with every Promise Keeper, so we're all on the same page. We have a great level of clarity and preparation for where we are heading over the next 90 days, where you're heading over the next 90 days. All right, so I want you to write these 4 words down, just like on the side, like take a clean sheet of paper or put them somewhere where there's going to be some space. Write these 4 words down, give them enough space, make them big words. I want you to write down the word where, why, and how. Write those 4 words down. Where, why, how. Where, why, how. Next to those words, I want you in the first where, I want you to write down the question, where are you? This is what I'm going to be asking you. Where are you? And I want you to be honest. Be honest with where you're at. And we'll go over some more details on that. We're going to make this quick, just again for time. We're sitting at 12 minutes after already. The second where is going to be, where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? Because here's the truth. Most people don't even know where they want to go. I need you to put some thought into where you want to go. Have a vision that excites you. You've heard me say this before, but it ties in really well here. Because when your vision is clear, so are your life choices. Think about that one. Consider that. When your vision is clear, so are your life choices. Vague goals produce what, Josh?
Vague results.
Vague results. Vague goals produce vague results. Arguably, probably the most important question you need to ask yourself is, why do you want it? Why the heck do you want to go where you want to go? Remember when I told you have a vision that excites you? Have that vision that excites you and follow that up with emotional intensity. The why, the reason this is important to you. The goal, the destination, the objective outcome without a reason or a why, it's impotent. The goal's impotent. It's dead. The goal doesn't matter. And then the final, the how, is how are you going to get there? Well, Steve, duh, that's why I'm here. I get it. I know. But how, knowing what you know now about where you are, where do you want to go, and why do you want it? How are you going to get there? You know what? More importantly, here's a better question. Who are you willing to be to achieve that? Some great things to think about. Okay, let's open it up. And by the way, thank you for spending extra time with me today. I'd be dishonest if I said I can nail this in an hour, but because I just enjoy talking and having this conversation. But you know, if you have to go, you have to go. I get it. It's being recorded. You have the replays. Everything we do and talk about in this group is going to be on replay. You'll have accessibility to it. As a matter of fact, you're going to probably want to listen to this several times to go back and listen. Like, hey, I heard something, but I was writing something down. I was distracted. So he said something else, and let me go back and get that. So there's always going to be these nuggets and takeaways and these moments of thought that are going to capture you. And that's really what it's about, so that you can just, you can be your own level of you can be the catalyst for what your transformation is going to be through this community. Okay. What takeaways do we have? I know it's a lot. I know when you really look at the landscape, it seems like it's a lot, but it's not really, because it's really simple when it's laid out. Get into the workbook and it'll explain more. At least it'll keep you organized. What takeaways though? What did we learn? Deborah.
Something that I need to continue remembering is measure the actions and not the results. And be grateful that I put in the effort to get those results.
The results, I'm using air quotes here, the results that you haven't gotten yet. Yet is the operative word. You know the results are going to be coming. It's just we get so inundated the fact that we don't have the results right now. Well, I want it now. Like, I've worked for this for 3 days. Like, why do I not have the results? I've been at it for 3 weeks. Why do people quit the gym after 3 weeks? See how I'm getting worked up now. Why do people quit the gym after 3 weeks? It's the new year. It's the resolution. 10% of people after 3 weeks, I know, I've worked in the health club industry for 17 years. I've seen all the analytics. I've seen the statistics. I've read all the reports. On average, 10% of members stay that join the gym in the beginning of the month, or they keep using the club. 10% of them do. Why? Because the behavior that they're taking and going to the gym is not aligned with who they are from an identity perspective, with their self-images of themselves. And most people don't look at it that way. That's why, Carol, we are transforming from the inside out. It's us.
You know, Steve, I'm taking that. I'm going to take that into life in general, everything, because I seem like if I try something, let's say making phone calls or whatever, after 2 days, I don't get any results. I'm like, I'm done with that. That sucks. You know, so this is really something that I need to put up on my wall.
This applies everywhere in life. Now, like, I've been known as the health, fitness, wellness, you know, even mindset coach for years, like as long as I can remember. But everything I teach, everything I coach on is applicable in business, in relationships, in your emotions, in everything. Right.
It's like if, you know, as a husband, you know, if I'm consistently not an asshole and I do what my wife asks, guess what? My life's a little bit better, right? I mean, same in business. Like, people don't get that, man. Like, I'm always reminded every time you talk about this, I'm reminded of the time when I was hitting the gym. I was in there 6 days a week, and I was like, man, and I walked by this mirror, and you know, gym mirrors, I don't know, they must be designed to make you look better, but I walked by this mirror and I'm like, oh, you fat pig, like, give it up, man. And I sat in that sauna, and these two dudes, and you have to understand, these guys are assholes. To call them nice, they're assholes. Power lifters are like, get off my machine type guy, right? Twerp. And yeah, twerp. And yeah, they were like, the one dude looks at me and goes, man, bro, you're starting to get some gains. I was like, yeah, thanks, man. You know, and I walked out and I swear to you, I visioned myself look in that mirror. I was looking at a complete muscled out me. Like, I mean, I could see the definitions, the peaks of the Bible. I'm like, yeah, you know, like that was how, I mean, it changed my mindset from that point on. Like,
I love that
consistency
story.
wins the game.
I love that.
Consistency wins the game.
I love that story. That reminds me of like those cartoons where they blow their air up full, you know, their chest full of air, and they walk around with those air lats like this, and then they turn around the corner and they're like, like, that was so taxing. Like trying to pretend somebody that I'm not. Like, that's so hard. Like, well, yeah, no kidding, duh. It's like, just be you. But again, by you being you, other people saw that within you. And it was hidden in you. The success code was built in you already. You just never even saw it. You didn't realize it because you never gave yourself the opportunity to see it or gave yourself the credit or the recognition. And I'm not saying be conceited or gloat about it, but you know what? Give yourself a damn break.
Yeah. Like, you know what? Yeah, man.
Come
Get
on.
all fired up.
Come on, chisel, sizzle, trizzle. All right. This has been a fantastic time. And here's what to expect next. If you haven't done your video, go in the video, even if, you know, obviously returning promise keepers, like this isn't new to you. It's not foreign to you. Just go in there and come back and share. So the Carols and the Tracys and other promise keepers are coming in, they get a chance to know you. Like, you are an inspiration for us because you've been through this process and you believe in yourself enough that you continue being here. It's like reading the same book for the second, third, fourth time. You're like, what the heck? I've read this book. I've been through the program. Where the heck was this chapter at? I don't remember reading this. It's because you've leveled up. You've found yourself at a new place. You've expanded to another level. So now you're ready to accept more of what we have to offer as a community. All right. I like to leave it off like this. I love to leave it off like this. I want you to go make it a fantastic week. Be present, be courageous, be consistent. I have a great friend of mine. You're going to hear me say this in honor of him. His name was Darren, and he passed away at 55 years young from a stroke. And just one of those great dudes. Like, he was as healthy as can be. We've had conversations about living to 100. And he just didn't make it. He had just had something unfortunate happen to him. But he said something that's going to sit with me for a very, very long time. I was sort of envious that I never came up with this, but now that he's passed on, I'm going to carry this legacy on with him. And he says this, he says, you have the power to change, to make the rest of your life the best of your life. You have the power to change, to make the rest of your life the best of your life. Now you have the power to change. It's no one else's responsibility but yours. So if you're ready to go take on this week, I'll see you on Friday. Fridays are typically bonus calls. I nail pretty much every Friday, but there's Fridays. You crack me up, man.
I'm fired up, dude.
Me too.
I already did 10 push-ups while we're on this call, dude. That's all fired up I am.
Is that where you went?
I'm about to go get 10 more.
I just thought you were the fastest urinator ever. I'm like, where'd you go?
No, actually, I was like, you know what? I'm doing it right now.
Friday, 5 o'clock Central Standard Time, same call link, same Zoom link. We're going to show up. We're just going to talk about what you experienced over the week. How did the scoreboard go? What did you learn about, you know, the transformation equation? Like, that's about you. Fridays are bonuses so that we can start uncovering and start discussing what we've learned about the process, about this module, about the lessons. And you'll be very surprised how liberating it is just to have these conversations and to learn from each other. So if you're ready to go take on the week, say let's go. And I'm out. You're out. Let's go.
Let's go.
Boom.